Liverpool have scored again, and it just had to be Mo Salah.
Hello everyone, welcome back to Durbanites FPL, coming to you with Game Week 17's review and Game Week 18 preview. So let's start with the table as usual. Not much change right at the summit, 87 points the lead, but looking at Zakia coming in strong for second place and Mobeen moving up a couple of places now. Big week for him, coming up into third spot and not too far away from second as well, a new challenger. What does that mean? That Fatima BB drops down as well to 4. The champ is down to 5, and then a big midfield battle happening. Also some big moves down from the bottom as well. So interesting to see what happens in the next 2 quick game weeks coming up. And with that, let's go and look at what players have been selected, and you can see that Cole Palmer is now owned by 12 out of 12 managers in the FPL, something that we've only ever seen with Erling Haaland previously, and Mo Salah still owned by 10 out of 12 managers. Now what this means is that these two are in 10 out of 12 Premier League squads, guys. It's not going to be the differentiator unless you're looking at swapping captaincies, but other than that, you need to find some other points. Matthias Cunha was the other one who survived the week. No other players making it into the staples list, but a few differentiators. Starting with Dean Huijsen, owned by one player, making a big difference off on the back. Same as Declan Rice in that Arsenal win. Ola Aina back to his tricks, clean sheet and a goal, owned by 2 out of 12 managers. Morgan Rogers the same as well, and then Alexander Isak having a great week for Newcastle, owned by 1/3 of the managers in Durbanites FPL. Now, what does that mean for our week? Big hits this week, starting with our first centurion of the season, 103 points for Hobbs. That is a great display by him on all sides, picking up points in midfield, backline, as well as striker. A lot of guys in defense as well, so Stonewalls for Mubs, the champ, Zai and Squish picking up Stonewalls. Then another big one, the midfield maestro, Mohamed Siddiq, coming up with 77 points, one of the biggest midfield hauls ever, including Mo Salah, including Morgan Rogers and Declan Rice. A fantastic one for him this week. Super strikers up front, myself, Zax and Mobs again, as you can see, 20 plus points coming up for him there. So again, picking up points all over the show. And then we had to call out a striker elite there, Azra, picking up 50 plus points just from our front line. Not an easy task by any chance, so a big week for a lot of them. But with the positives come the negatives as well, so Azra also picking up a 20-point hot bench, quite unlucky for her. And then have to call out Zion Fati, made the decision to try and be different. Brave, picking up Saka as a captain. Unfortunately, his hamstring injury just after the 20th minute meant that he got just a point, doubled up to 2 points for them, and has cost them in the table, as you can see this week. And what does that mean? Looking at the best possible selection, up at the back, Robert Sanchez from Chelsea picking up 9 points. Fantastic effort for him in that draw. And then you've got Aina, Hall, Mikalenko and Huijsen, as you can see, a big back line there coming up with the points. And in midfield, Declan Rice, Mo Salah, the captain, obviously with his best haul in Fantasy Premier League in his whole career. Kluivert coming in from Bournemouth with 8 points, and then Morgan Rogers with 14. Fantastic midfield there. And up front, Cunha and Isak, both of them picking up points. So as you can see, quite a big week. On the bench, you've got Lascelles as a backup keeper, Martinelli, Byrne and Armstrong. So in the strikers, it was either Isak and Cunha or you were not getting anywhere. What does that mean? 153 points if you had this lineup, including 175 if you used a bench boost, all for a cost of 90.4. So again, guys, affordable team if you're thinking of using it. Of course, doesn't include Cole Palmer, who's caused a lot of goals along the way. So just a bad week for him this week. Now, what does that mean for the fixtures coming up? We're still in a very short space of time. We're going to see 2 other fixtures, Boxing Day games coming up tomorrow, and then games again on the weekend. So looking at Chelsea for sure, still another good run of winnable games ahead of them. Then Liverpool, who also have better games than challenging ones. They are on such great form at this moment in time. Manchester United, again, a couple of green fixtures coming up. Not entirely sure whether you would bank on them, though their form has been atrocious. Now, Manchester City have been in a slump, but they have some of the easier games on paper that are coming up. Everton, Leicester, West Ham and Ipswich, all bottom of the Premier League teams right now. So very, very winnable games before they get up to Chelsea. I would not suggest you buy Haaland, but if you have him, it might be a chance for you to use him as a differentiator since a lot of teams have shed him because of his price. Let's see how that goes. Southampton, definitely looking at some good fixtures, new management that is coming, so that's why I've put them on the recommend list. They are in pretty bad form currently, but with the new manager also comes the new manager bounce. So let's see how that works out. And Tottenham Hotspur, although they lost to Liverpool last week, they did win in the Carabao Power Cup against Manchester United. They definitely gave Liverpool a bit of a scare, going 6-3 in that game. They are scoring goals, guys. So if you're looking for points, maybe you're not looking at their defenders, but you have a lot of options in terms of Son, Addison, Brennan Johnson, all of them doing really well. Kulusevski's in great run form, so just think about those players when looking at Spurs. But on the flip side of that, you've got to be cautious with Everton. So those that had a lot of cheap Everton defenders, they have a bit of a tough run coming up ahead of them, as you can see. You've got to think carefully about whether you bring them on, same as Dwight McNeil, who's been a favourite. Ipswich as well, some tough games coming up ahead, as you can see. They are facing 4 out of the top 6 teams, the Arsenal, Chelsea, Manchester City and Liverpool in the next 6 weeks, so you've got to be very careful about that. Leicester not on the best form and have a tough 3 weeks ahead of them. Brentford also some challenging times. They've not been doing too badly. They can still score points, but probably not going to get the big wins you're looking for. Then Newcastle, who have also been on a bit of a mission to score goals for last week. So you got Villa and United, not the best setup for them, and then Spurs coming up. But again, goals could flow in those games. And then you've got Wolves, who have got now the worst run of all teams coming. The next 9 matches are all challenges for them, starting with Manchester United. Then, as you can see, Spurs and a resurgent Nottingham Forest, and Newcastle, Chelsea, and Arsenal. Would not recommend holding on to Wolves players, especially on the defensive side. Guys, this is where the FPL is won and lost. Now, looking at the back line there, Pope is still out from Newcastle, which means Dubravka will probably get a run in the team. Vicario is out for Spurs, and I would stay away from Spurs backup keeper Fabian Foster. He's having an absolute howler game after game. Hermansen is out from Leicester, so they are losing their top choice keeper, and Edison is out for Manchester City as well. So look at Ortega coming in for his place. That's why we've gone on the picks, all the, let's say, the big names there, Alisson, Ortega, Sanchez, Raya, and Nana. Definitely the keepers that are on form. You might look at Sells for Crystal Palace, but again, not many favourable games, so just think about that before you make that choice. On the defensive side, Young from Everton is not suspended now. No one has him on the Durbanites FPL team, but I would urge you to put him on a watch list because he is doing really well, picking up points all over the way. But he is suspended for this week, but maybe think about it if Everton are coming back or if you need a well-priced defender to put into your squad. Botman still out for Newcastle, Ruben Dias out for Manchester City, and John Stones is doubtful, just adding to Manchester City's woes. What does that mean though for your picks? Definitely looking at Gabriel and Timber for Arsenal. If you have Saliba, you might want to use him as well. Trent Alexander-Arnold for Liverpool. His attacking prowess alone gives him a lot of bonuses that you can get in. And then you've got Pedro Porro from Spurs, again one of the attacking options, even if defensively they are poor currently. And then Masraoui from Manchester United, who has been one of the more consistent players at Manchester United. And then Cucurella from Chelsea, who is favoured by Enzo Maresca to play in that left back position. Then looking at midfield, again Manchester City's woes with Bob and Rodri out. Saka is now out for Arsenal for an undetermined length of time, quite unfortunate for him. McNeil from Everton is doubtful. Smith Rowe is doubtful, picking up a late injury last week that he couldn't pick up. And Solly March is still fighting his way to match fitness. But a lot of options for us. Looking at the trio from Chelsea, Palmer, Neto, and Enzo. Enzo is a fantastic price pick. I think 5.1, 5.2 currently. Really a good midfield to put in. And Maresca is playing him in a kind of roaming attacking role. Not going to get goals every week, but he is challenging. Then Liverpool also with the trio, they Salah, Jota, and Diaz. Diaz seems to have at least in the last game, return to form that he showed earlier this season. Salah is just on fire insanely, and Jota is making his way back from injury and still important in that squad. For Manchester United, Amad Diallo's been a bit of the standout for this season. Again, inconsistency in the team, but if you're looking again for a best price midfielder at 5.2, he is super affordable. And then you got Bruno Fernandes, the captain there, who is again the penalty taker and is always slated to take penalties and get goals, but he is slightly expensive at 8.2. Declan Rice in at 6.1 after his performance, definitely one that you can look at with Saka out. Rice, Martinelli are the options that we're looking at for Arsenal. Odegaard slowly on back to his form after his injuries. Now, looking at Brighton, you've got Matoma and Jakob Minte, both of them are doing well for Brighton. So if you have them, you want to play them. From Spurs, even though we haven't put in a recommendation, yes, acquired there, Madison, Johnson, and Son, they are scoring goals. So if you're looking at them, Spurs players except for Son are not priced too badly. So maybe look at putting them in the field there. When we go to the forwards, though, Richarlison's still out and Callum Wilson is back on the list. Welbeck is now seems to be worsening in his conditions. That's a real issue. I've got him there. Erling Haaland, guys, I will say it again and again. I don't have him on my team. He's super expensive. You have to make a lot of changes to get him back. But he's a guy who, when he's in form, will put 3 or 4 goals in week after week. You've seen it this season. You've seen it last season. He's got a great run of games coming up. If you have him, my suggestion is to hold him, even if you're not going to captain him, play him. But again, I mean, you can never say Manchester City are having a tough time, but just making my opinion out there. Then you've got Havertz and Jesus. Gabby Jesus had an incredible run of form, scoring 2 last week in the league, scoring 3 in the Carabao Cup. He's definitely hit a vein of form now. He's not too expensive as a striker. Arsenal don't have the greatest run of games, but again, someone who's on form, and Arsenal are definitely chasing, so one to look at. Alexander Isak, again, great form, not the best in terms of fixtures coming up, but again, a striker who will put the ball in the net. So if you have him, maybe you want to play him. Welbeck, speaking about it again, so Welbeck is again doubtful, but him and João Pedro almost go as a team. If they're not playing together, I would really recommend playing either one of them. We've seen João Pedro blank week after week as well without his strike partner. Nicholas Jackson for Chelsea, again, preferred striker for Enzo Maresca, and he has been putting the ball in the net, so one to look at. And Dominic Solanke, we saw last week, also putting the ball in the net. We know him from his days in Bournemouth, really good points getter. Looks like Spurs are starting to really move forward now, and they are scoring a lot of goals this season. So again, Dominic Solanke as a possible to add on to the field. Now, that's what we have for this week. There's going to be another update by the weekend as well, in the third of these rushed game weeks over the festive period. But until then, wishing you the best of luck, and don't forget to like, subscribe, and leave a comment for us on this channel. But otherwise, wishing you the best for the festive season. So long for now.